Are sharks dangerous? I believe that's not a simple yes or no. It's about putting into a context. It's like someone has an allergy to a food. Is that a dangerous allergy? Arguably yes, because if they eat that food, they're in big trouble. Arguably no, because as long as they stay away from their food, they'll be fine. So if it's dangerous, depends on what context we're talking. It could be dangerous or not dangerous. That's exactly how I feel about sharks. It's about putting into the right context. There are approximately between 50 to 80 shark bites per year worldwide, and approximately 6 of them are fatal. Yet mosquitoes kill hundreds of thousands of people per year by spreading disease. So sharks are more frightening in the imagination, but mosquitoes are vastly deadlier in real yearly human deaths. And other interesting data, humans kill at least tens of millions of sharks per year. No exaggeration. And we humans are scared of sharks. I'm going to explain this further. You see, everything in life, we have to measure probability and consequences. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I have 2 plates of food here. The one plate, I've got 1 chance in 20 of getting terrible poisoning. The other one is 1 chance in 10 billion of getting that poisoning. I would probably eat the one with 1 chance in 10 billion because that risk is so tiny. Do you notice? It's the same consequence, but a different probability or likelihood of that consequence. But let's say I'm also deciding, should I go walk outside? There's a 5% chance of rain or 1 in 20 chance. And there's this food, there's 1 chance in 20 of having terrible poisoning. I'd probably go out in the rain, but I will not eat that food because it's the same probability, but different consequences. You see, the previous example was same consequence, but different likelihood. Here, it's the same likelihood, but different consequences. So with all decisions, we have to look at what the result is and how likely that result is. And that's exactly how we should look at sharks. So for example, let's say I'm at the beach now, and this is what's known as shark-infested waters. There are about a dozen sharks swimming around right in the area. And the question is, what would happen if I entered that water? Let's say I spent 15 minutes standing there with my arms folded, surrounded by these sharks swimming around. I'll tell you what I expect to happen. I expect nothing to happen. I expect the sharks to ignore me, and I'll come out the water in the same shape and form that I entered the water. Maybe more wet, but that's all. I expect the sharks to ignore me. So given that the sharks are going to ignore me, will I therefore go ahead and enter the water? That's the next question, not what will happen, but am I going to go into that water? And my answer is absolutely not. I will not go in that water, and I advise every other person not to do so either. Why? Because even if the chance of being bitten is very small, the consequences are catastrophic. Remember what I said earlier? We have to look at probability and the severity. See, a shark bite is not a minor scrape. It could mean a wound with hundreds of stitches required. It could mean losing a limb. It could also mean death. So that bite itself is unlikely, but it's so severe, I'm not willing to take that chance. So to begin with, I want to therefore categorically dispel that belief that sharks are human-eating machines, that a shark thinks, hey, there's a human, let's go get him. When sharks do bite, it's not meant maliciously. Sometimes they misidentify a human with their regular prey, which is often a seal, Or sometimes it's just curiosity. They don't have hands. Like if I want to examine this, I can pick it up and look in my hands. Sharks don't have hands, so they just take a bite out of curiosity to check it out. And nearly always that shark swims away after one single bite. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate the concept now. Hi, hello friends. Let's pretend I am a shark, and let's pretend this lamp represents a human. Let's say someone standing in the sea, enjoying the weather and enjoying the sea. I'm going to show you what happens most of the time with the sharks. Let's pretend I'm the shark. Hello, here I'm shark swimming around. I wonder what that is. You know, I have incredible sense of smell. I think it's a human. It's definitely living. It doesn't interest me. I'll swim away. No big deal. Okay. That's the usual outcome. But let's look at the scenario if that's an unlucky bather in the sea. And I'm going to, once again, I'm going to speak the mind of the sharks. I'm swimming along, such a good day. I wonder what that is. It's alive. I can sense that it's moving about. Hey, it might be a seal, my favorite meal. Let's just check it out. Pooh, not my cup of tea, not nice. I didn't enjoy it. Oh well, too bad. Better luck next time. Let's swim away. That shark detected that human not just from smell, but electrical signals, and could detect motion. But do you notice something? That bite, which we just witnessed, it was not aggressive at all. It really did not mean harm. It was not an aggressive, malicious bite. But unfortunately for the victim, the fact that it wasn't meant in a vicious way doesn't help that victim, who will then have damage that is life-altering. For a large shark, one bite is enough to destroy an arm or tear apart a leg or maybe kill someone. Even a dog bite is more intentional and deliberate. Usually if a dog bites you, it's because it wants to bite you, whereas the shark is just curious. Yet, there's no comparison between a dog bite and a shark bite. And I'm not saying it's fun to be bitten by a dog. It's not nice at all. But I'd rather have that than a shark bite. In fact, I want to refer to two true stories. One is a man who filmed sharks and helped produce programs and documentaries on sharks. And all his life, he's with sharks, filming them. Nothing happened. One day he was filming, and a small shark that's not even known to be a relatively dangerous shark came from nowhere and just charged at him and bit him on his arm. No one knows why. It took out a big piece of his arm. Thankfully, he did not have his arm amputated, and he was relatively lucky not to have it amputated. And another one is a man who's a specialist on shark behavior and researches shark behavior, a scientist, and many times he stood in water surrounded by sharks, even the types of sharks considered to be relatively more dangerous than others, to show nothing happens. He shows, look, if I'm just standing calmly, I'm not doing any gestures at them, I'm not a threat to them, they'll ignore me. And many times he'd stand in water surrounded by what's considered the more dangerous sharks, and nothing happened. That proved his point. And one day he was standing in the water, and I believe he was surrounded by mainly bull sharks. That's a type of shark considered more dangerous than most. And out of nowhere, one of the bull sharks came and bit on the calf of his leg and ripped that leg open. He was rushed to hospital. I believe he had surgery for many hours. And he was also relatively lucky not to have his leg amputated. Both of these stories illustrate my point perfectly, that sharks are not human hunting machines. You see, with that man, that was just one shark that bit him, not all of them came to him. And that's after standing with him so many times. The sharks don't think, hey, there's a human, let's go get him. Yet that possibility of a bite is still there. And we must take that possibility very seriously. My conclusion is sharks are dangerous in the sense that if they bite, the consequences can be extremely severe. That danger is very, very real. So my suggestion is respect sharks, but do not demonize them. And do not be casual about them either. And I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. I would not enter waters where there are sharks present. And I advise other people not to. I do not think it is worth the risk. Thank you.